All right. Welcome to day 4 of the Love on Top Challenge, the remix. And I am recording this on my computer and then I will post it in our Facebook group whenever I'm able to get unlocked, but I was locked out of my Facebook page. So I just, on day 1, I shared with you guys how much resistance has come in my life just this week around this challenge, starting with my babysitter not being available out of all times. She never cancels on me. She isn't able to come this whole week. So I have been thugging it out with my kids where I normally would have undivided time for this challenge. And then my computer died on one of the days, and now I'm locked out of my Facebook. I've had Facebook since I was in college. I've not been ever locked out of it. And so, yeah, it was all this troubleshooting. So here we are on day 4. I love some good resistance, some good opposition, because to me, it just means that the devil is trying to stop the word that is about to unfold. And I was really anxious about today. Like, I was dreaming about delivering today. I woke up and 9 o'clock couldn't come fast enough because I just love this topic. I love what we're going to talk about. And honestly, not honestly, I don't know why I said that word, but really, communication is the number one barrier in relationships. When you don't know how to communicate with your man, it is going to cause problems. And it is pretty much, and when your man doesn't know how to communicate with you, it's pretty much the barrier between a thriving, long-lasting relationship. And when I survey people to come into these challenges, it is the number one thing every single time I survey what's the biggest challenge in your relationship. It's always communication. So today, what we're going to be talking about is that. And then going in tomorrow, I want to just remind you that tomorrow I even had some resistance with that. So my daughter's soccer tournament was supposed to be, is up north. I didn't know we had to leave at 7 in the morning. So I thought I was going to have to figure out tomorrow, but I ended up, excuse me. Yes. I can't right now. Ask Barry, please. No, you can't right now. Then there's this. So I ended up buying a plane ticket to leave. My husband's going to drive up and I'm going to fly and meet them there after so I can do the challenge. So that's how committed I am to this. We are making it happen. Excuse me, because like I said, I have my kids here and I would love to just lock them out, but I can't. I'm working. What do you need? I can't handle this. Okay, Erilyn, I need you to be the leader right now. Please don't cause problems, please. Okay, well, help them. I need them not at my door. I'm almost in. I will give you guys a treat. I will take you guys to get a treat if you can just let me do this. Okay, so all right. We need to jump into our prayer for the day so we can get this word popping. But you guys, you don't want to click out of this. Communication is a barrier. So before we jump into today, though, I just want to share a quick little story to recap the day 1 through 3. And I want to say this because this dropped in my heart. God talks to me when I'm either in the shower or when I'm sleeping. And he dropped this on my heart that I really want to stress that you guys can be hyped up. Like, you can leave the live each day and be like, oh my God, that was a word. That was amazing. Reposting it, which thank you so much. For those of you guys who have been reposting and sharing this, I really, really appreciate it because I do believe that a lot of women get to be reached by this information. So I appreciate you taking that extra second to share it. So thank you. But you could share it, listen to it, be hyped up. But if you're not doing the challenge, you will not be able to get the breakthrough. That's where the breakthrough actually happens, when you actually implement it. And so I wanted to really reiterate that and tell you that it's when you're doing the work that you start to see the opportunities to apply what you're learning. Otherwise, it's just principle. And also because like I said, I had got a couple of DMs of like, can you go deeper on this? And how about that? And I told you guys I was going to share with you about her playbook, the program. So what I really would love is for you to see that this is the difference. Like, you learn the information, but then you go and apply it with the challenge. So when you do her playbook, the program, it's like you take all these things you're learning on my podcast, on my lives, in this challenge, and you're taking it into tangible action, and you're doing it each week with the action steps. So God just put in my heart to remind you, don't skip out on the challenges. If you haven't registered and you don't have the workbook with the challenges, go get it. The link's in my bio. But you got to do it. So my quick story, it was just a funny story. I actually posted it in the Facebook group, but it was that on day 2, when the challenge was to send a sex message, I sent a video of me in like one of my wigs that I recently bought. It's like a platinum blonde bob, like bang, cute little number. And I sent it to my husband wearing his t-shirt, like his logo t-shirt. And I was like, do you want to name her? And he was like ignoring it. Like he said something else and answered something else. And then I was like, okay. So I answered that. And then I'm like, so do you want to name her? And then he literally didn't respond again. So the third time I'm like, why are you ignoring? Do you not want to name her? Now, I want to point this out because when I told you guys this either yesterday or the day before, when you're doing this work, you have to be patient, because what's going to happen is you're going to be like, okay, great. Crystal said love first. Crystal said be the initiator. Crystal said, da, 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 I'm going to do it. I'm hyped up and I'm a new woman. And then you go and you do that thing. And then your man doesn't reciprocate the way that you want him to. And then you pop right back to crazy Crystal or whoever you are, whatever your alternative side is. And it doesn't work. So I literally felt myself about to be triggered, like, here he goes rejecting me. See, he never wants to, and he always, and I will teach these words like in the communication element, but like when you use the words never, always, those are ego words. So I teach my clients what I call trigger words, where when you use them, you can automatically be like, oh, I'm triggered. That's not even me talking. That's my ego. And so I wanted to be like, you never like play with me, and you never want to talk dirty with me, and da da da. And I felt that coming up, but instead I just said, why are you ignoring my message? And then he literally said, because I know you'll get mad at whatever name I give, and you'll read too deep into it, and I don't feel like us getting in a fight. And I just started dying laughing. And someone just posted on my page, like, I love how you take responsibility and you focus on your part. And it's like, yes, I have done the work to realize how much of a part I play in the situation my relationship is in. And I really hope you take that away from this week, that you are 100% responsible for your reality, 100%, which means if you're 100%, then so is your partner. So again, let God deal with him, let him deal with himself, but you have 100% responsibility to realize, how did you create this scenario? So I thought that was a great example. Yes, so I posted the text screenshot in the group, but I thought it was a great example of how quickly things can shift, and how, again, why for all these years I've felt like I can't be like that, and why I'm not really into role play, although I desire it. But it's because I even know myself, I'm afraid of being like when I learned about role play from this couple, they said that they'll go, like, let's say they go out to eat, and the guy will be like, babe, go to the bathroom and come back, like, you're my waitress and I'm going to take you home. So they'll start the role play like out at dinner. And when they were teaching me this, I said, hell no, because if he pretends I'm some bitch at the restaurant, I'm going to lose it. So my maturity gets to mature, whatever. So just wanted to share that. The importance of the challenges. Do not do the daily challenges. The journal prompts are where you're going to get the breakthroughs. They're where you're going to start to identify where the blocks are that are keeping you stuck in these different areas. So that's that. So remember tomorrow, remember that tomorrow is a 2-hour workshop, masterclass. So I believe how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure yet how Instagram's going to get it. I haven't decided that. So God's going to deliver that. I'm either going to stream it on, if I get into the Facebook group, and then post it on my IGTV. I don't know, because it's 2 hours. I don't know if I can stay on IG for 2 hours or not. So just, if you want to be there for the whole thing, be ready for that. And I think that is the intro. But yes, I definitely want you to Okay, Zoom is where I will go on Zoom and then record it because I have slides for it. So I'm like, because it's 2 hours, I like to match it with a visual, not just talking. And the delivery is a little bit different than my lives where I'm like telling a bunch. I mean, I'll still tell stories, but anyway, so Zoom is just a different platform. You guys will, you'll be like put up on game however I do it. Don't worry, we're going to stay in today. We're going to jump right in. So I'm going to open with prayer because I need to woosah that stress. Oh, by the way, I couldn't find my computer this morning. I had it set up. One of my daughters moved it and it was under my pillow on my couch. Like, that's how much today is powerful. So let's jump in and bind up this devil so there's no more distractions. Jesus, we come to you right now and I thank you so much, God, for downloading these gems in my heart, my soul, my mind, God, and giving me the gifts to deliver them. I just ask that you decrease me, God, and remove me from my agenda, my ego, my wanting to look good, do it right, be perfect, and all the things, and just focus on being the vessel, being open so that you can flow through me, God, so that everyone tuning in can get the word that they came here to get, God. I just pray that if anyone's trying to find this on the Facebook group, that they will be able to make it over to Instagram, and that we will get everyone here who needs to hear this word, God. I just ask that everyone will share this today, God, that everyone will feel it in their heart to hit share and share this with their audiences, God, because I believe that communication is a huge barrier in relationships, and people get the tools to break out of those barriers, God. I just ask that you will continue to bless these women who are investing time and energy in being here, God. I just pray that you bind up distractions. I pray that on their end there's no technical difficulties or sound problems or distractions with the kids and all the things, God. I just pray that you give them this next hour to be able to consume this content and be present for it, God. I thank you in advance for the breakthroughs and the transformations that are taking place now, tomorrow, and for generations and generations to come, God. We thank you so much in your name. We rebuke the devil in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So, as you know, if you're just joining in for the first time, then you don't know. But if you've been with us all week, we are covering how to be the vibe in the relationship, because the vibe is everything. And the vibe tends to shift and decrease over time in a relationship when you start to add in responsibilities and resentments and kids, and there's all these things. It starts to become more of like Marriage Incorporated, where people are just kind of coexisting and going through the motions, and you have all this baggage built up that it kind of kills the vibe. And so we've been breaking down. The V has been vision. Make sure you watch day 1 if you didn't. The I is identity. Make sure you watch day 2. And then yesterday we covered the B, which was belief. What you believe is what you create. What you focus on grows. And so today with the E, of course, I want you to play with me. Tell me, what is the E? Can you guess the E? And while you're guessing that, while you're throwing that in the chat, I really wanted the E to be experience, because I feel like when I think of experience, and this is directly related to today's challenge, which I'll get to that later, but when I think of experience, it's how are people experiencing you? Essentially, your vibe is your experience. Your vibe is how people experience you, right? And so I really was thinking about that. And then there was a lot of things when it comes to experience of like, are you having experiences with your partner? Are you creating those moments with them? But ultimately, I did go with expression. Yes, to expression, because what expression is it's a number of things, and we're going to break it down today, right? So first of all, what expression is how you're showing up in the relationship, how you're expressing yourself, how you're communicating. So hence why we're going into communication, but also, all the different things that we're going to break down today. So number one area of expression is how are you expressing things and letting them go? So this is like the core of communicating something. When you hold something in and you don't let it go, like you're triggered by something and it's festering inside of you, not expressing it. You're not letting it out. And when you hold dis-ease in your body, that manifests as disease. And I believe that's why so many women are sick, tired, overwhelmed, overworked, run down, because you're trapping in so much emotion. Women are very resilient. As much as we are very emotional and we pop off and all these things, we hold in a lot. And so do men. So not taking away from them, men are very sick as well. So we really get to express ourselves so that we don't hold in these trigger moments, because what happens in your mind affects your body. I don't know if you guys remembered when I talked on day, I don't know which one it was, I told you how every time I would go through my husband's phone and I would feel that gut, I didn't even see anything. And I would have that gut wrenching feeling in my body, in my gut, my blood was racing, my blood was boiling, my heart was racing. And this doctor told me that what happens in my mind when I'm playing those stories we talked about yesterday in my head of he's probably this and he probably did that. And based on what I saw, this probably happened. That mental clutter is affecting our body. So your body is feeling this. So you've got to let go. And one of my favorite ways that I've learned this need to let go is one of my trainers, when I did this work to like learn to facilitate this, she called it a shit scoop. And so it is kind of an interesting analogy, but it's so it's just it makes sense. So she explains how if you were to go to an ice cream shop, right, and you are going to get ice cream and there's a scoop of shit on it, right? And then you're like, oh, oops, I don't want to eat that. And so they take it off and then they pile on your favorite ice creams. It doesn't matter if you put 4 scoops of your favorite ice creams, you're gonna smell the shit. You're going to have the remnants of like, ew, you have to get a new cone. You have to get a whole new cone. You can't just put a new baby, a new house, a new car, a new date, and then think that what happened yesterday, what happened last year, what happened 5 years ago is gonna go away. You have to deal with it. So one of the anchors of needing to learn healthy communication is learning how to deal with things as they come up. And this is why I teach you how to deal with yourself, how to acknowledge your triggers, because you can diffuse a lot of things that come up and learn to express them without even needing to involve your partner. And then the things that you do need to express with your partner, then you learn how to properly express them, which we're going to go over how to do that in a moment. So when you don't let things go, it creates this shit scoop, which in real life is the manifestation of unforgiveness, of bitterness, of resentment, of bad energy, bad juju, being easily triggered. When I think of when my husband told me, he used to tell me that he wasn't sure, like he would call me on his way home just to see the temperature of what crystal he was going to get when he got home. Because like I told you guys, during the day, I had so much idle time while he was away that I was going through his phones. I was reading phone bills. I was making up stories in my head. So by the time he got home from work, my stories were through the roof and my energy was off. My energy was bad most of the time. So when you learn to express yourself, when you learn to get rid of these emotions and these thoughts and these things, then you're able to clear your energy and your vibe, which is what this is all about. So I want to give you an example of how to let this stuff go and why you need to let this stuff go. So I'm gonna teach it to you from a story. And if you guys are on my email list, then you might have heard this story through email, but now I'm gonna share it verbally. So my husband and I had one of our like things lately has been me saying, well, you don't take me on dates anymore. Well, you don't do this. Now, granted, there's a lot of reasons for that. There's the fact that I've been going through my own stuff. So my temperature hasn't been the best. His temperature hasn't been the best. Then there's COVID. Then there's the fact that we literally have we have 3 children in sports, and then karate and gymnastics and soccer. So we have all these things. So the little window of time that we do actually have to try to do dates, it's like we don't even have the energy for it. So I've been internalizing that, saying, you don't take me on dates anymore and you don't court me, and basically like throwing a big fit. Deep down knowing, because I teach this work, so knowing that I'm just throwing a fit, but I was like, I'm tired. So my energy lately, which I told you guys I was in that down season, has been, I'm tired of practicing what oh my God, here I go with the itching. I'm tired of practicing what I preach. I'm tired of being the bigger person. I'm tired of basically like sucking it up and being like, well, if I want him to take me on a date, then I need to communicate that. It was like my ego was up here and I was like, no, I'm not communicating. He needs to know. And if he doesn't know, someone else is going to figure it out. And I had that energy. Okay. So that was the backstory, right? Oh my God. Sorry, guys. It's so distracting, but I don't know why. I touched something in my bathroom is causing me to have allergic reactions. And look at the devil still trying to get me. Okay. So this is the backstory. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be what I want to receive. I plan a date night and I pick a place that I know that he would love to go. I basically like cross off all of his reasons why he normally wouldn't want to go. So it was like something he would like. It's in a local location. We don't have to go to like LA or go far away. I got the babysitter, all the things. So I'm ready to go. I tell him about it, and then we don't bring it up until like the day up. So why else here? Okay, so we go, we're getting ready to go, and I message him. So we were actually supposed to go with family, but then most of my family canceled. That's another one of my husband's things. Like, I want to just go on a date with you. He doesn't think going out with other people is a date. So I'm like, it's perfect. Like, everyone canceled. It's just me and you, we're going, and he doesn't want to go. So now I'm pissed. I'm raging. Like, I planned this. And this is another example of like, don't go off the rocker when you try to do something and it doesn't get reciprocated. You have to be patient and keep going. So I'm pissed. Like, he doesn't want to go. See, I knew he like it. Okay, so I'm throwing a fit. So I basically was like, okay, but I'm going to practice what I preach and I'm not going to throw a fit. I'm going to sit with it. And I've been taking notes. So this is a tip that I want you to take down. One of the ways to help you pick your battles and not go off the rocker is to take notes. So you can journal them. I put them in my phone, and I just have a section where anytime I'm triggered, I write it out. And if I'm super triggered, then that's when I journal or I voice note it to myself and I go off on my phone just to get it out. But you write it down, and then in a week from now, you can revisit and see if it's still relevant. And I promise you, if you do this, it's so funny. Like, when you go back and you read it, you can just hear your little bratty voice. Like, you said this and you didn't do that, and you didn't want to go on a date with me. And it just sounds so bratty, but it's such a good tool to start to adopt, to start to lessen your nagginess and to pick the battles that actually matter. And then what you can do is you can start to look at them and see where the trends are, where the themes are. And then from there, you can make boundaries. You can share, I've noticed this, and this makes me feel like this, and this is what I need for me to not feel like that. So it helps you to really get underneath. It's not the surface trigger that's the problem. It's underneath of how you feel. So I'm going to break this down with this story. So he doesn't want to go. I'm feeling like he doesn't want to date me, yada, yada, yada. So I practice what I preach. Instead of blowing up, I write it in my notes. And when I write it, I'm like, oh, this is the first one I'm going to when we talk about it. Like, I was pissed. So I'm quiet, okay? So I don't say anything. He comes and apologizes. The old me would have blown up the spot, went off. See, you never take me on dates and I could go out. This is why, you know what? Don't even worry about it. You don't even have to take me out. I'm going to go out. I'll go out and fulfill my own desire. Cause he knows one of my things is I like to get dressed up. I like him to take me out, show me off, like take me out in public. So the old me would have been like, don't even worry about it. I'm going to take myself out and get my own little like attention fed. Okay, I'm gonna do it on my own. But I didn't. I held all that in and I was quiet. So that led him to apologize. And because I was quiet and I let him sit in the puddle of what happened, he was able to reflect and be like, dang, my wife like planned a date for us, like we didn't go. But if I would have blew up spot like I normally do, he wouldn't have been there. He would have been on the defense of like, oh, you want to go out, bet, like do what you want to do. And then he would have been on the defense and it would have been a mess. So here's where the story continues, where I'm going to teach the next part. That week, he texted me and was like, do you want to go on a boat trip? And I'm like, oh my God. So I want to show you guys this because I want to show you how I went from like, he's going to hear about this when we talk about it. And I'm mad at him. And I'm like quiet, but still like mad, right? The second he texts me, let's go on a boat date, I'm like, oh my God, not only did he apologize, but he is planning another date, and I melted. So now ego is gone. My heart is wide open again. And I'm like, yes. So now I start planning. Like I'm Instacarting our favorite snacks. I'm going back into time. Like the things we used to eat, we don't even eat anymore. Junk foods, like our favorite drinks, our favorite everything. I was going to make, roast beef sandwiches because that's one of the things he likes. And we haven't eaten that in years. And, oh my God, sorry, I got my nose. So I'm like, I'm showing you guys this. This is important because I'm showing you how quickly I went from hard to soft, from closed to open, right? And so I was ready. Like everything that I wanted to talk about to him disappeared. I was no longer going to talk about it. It went away, which shows you that that wasn't the real problem. All I wanted was just for him to want to take me on a date and hang out with me, okay? So I'm like wide open planning the things. I can't, my nose is like on fire itching. So I'm trying to like wipe off if there's any, I don't know. Like, I think it's because my daughters played in my makeup and they spilled it everywhere and I cleaned it up. And so it must have been on my hands when I touched my face because I'm allergic to it. Okay. So don't get distracted. I bind you up, devil, please, Jesus, get rid of him. Let me anchor in this so I can show you this. And then we're going to get into the tool of how I did this. I pack up the refrigerator. My daughter and my husband come home from soccer, and literally, Jason, my husband, goes, "Are you excited for the boat tomorrow?" He was not talking to me. He was talking to my daughter. And I turned and I was like, "They're going?" And he was like, "Yeah, you thought it was just me and you?" And mind you, right before that had happened, my daughter tried going through my little bag that I had on the counter. And I was like, "Don't touch that. That's me and daddy's snacks." So I had our snacks ready to go, the stuff that didn't need to be refrigerated. She climbs up in the island, might as well have popcorn. She's like, "Oh, you thought it was you and daddy going on a date. You had your little snacks packed." So now I'm pissed. Like she's laughing at me. Jason has no, like he can't do anything but laugh. He's like, "Dang, babe, we'll do at least get credit for planning something for the kids." And I'm like, "Yeah, you can have credit because we all know you're the best dad ever. Joke's on me. I should have known better than to think you would plan a date for just us." So I go from close to open to close, petty, patty, whatever, right? So yes, I know everyone blames it on me because she's my child. She has my mouth. But so that's the thing. Like I'm showing you guys how quickly your egos will play with you and how quickly you'll go from open to close, open to close. So I'm pissed, but again, I'm like, practice what you preach, practice what you preach. Mind you, I'm preparing content for this week, so I'm all up in love on top, and I'm like, okay, be what you say you need to be. So I don't say anything again. I mean, no, sorry, I fail because I said something, but I don't blow up. I just say a passive little petty comment like, "Oh, we all know you're the best dad and you would never plan that for me." So I'm pissed. So I'm just quiet and mute for the rest of the night. Now, what I want you guys to see from this is that I did say something. So then he came on the defense, and now instead of sitting in the puddle again and realizing, dang, like my wife just really wanted to go on a date with me, he heard me jab him as a dad and as a husband who isn't doing enough. And then he had a talk and was just like, he's basically like, "I can never do anything right. Like I'm trying, work this, that. I did this. I thought that, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was going to be a good thing for the kids before they go back to school." And so he's on the defense. And so what I want you to hear here is that when I say be quiet, when I say let go and let God, it's not in this meaning, ignore the problem. It's not in a way of don't express what you need. It's in a way of take a praise break. So I'm going to show you what my tool is. And if you guys have studied with me, then you might already know the praise break, but hear it again, because I guarantee you're probably not using it because I don't always use it. But the praise break is where you stop and you pause. So I say, if you literally want to do this, hit a song on your phone, like a gospel song, especially, like put on some praise worship and just be like, "I'm triggered right now. I'm pissed off." And you have to reprogram your mind. This is communication 101, guys. Like, don't miss this. Okay. Do not miss this. When you're triggered, you have to reprogram your mind not to say something, not to do something, whether silent, like snubs, or like outwardly, like actions of like, tossing pots and pans or yelling at them, whatever. You have to reprogram your mind to pause. So you're going to take a praise break. So the P is pause. Pause, pause, pause. If you want to hit play on a praise song and just let the song play, I promise you, just doing some praise and worship and gospel songs are long as F. So you can let it play through. And then that's going to shift your energy. Okay. It's going to give you an opportunity to calm down. The R in praise is reflect. So what I did when I was reflecting on why am I so triggered, even though I kind of said something, I went and I got quiet and I was reflecting on why am I so triggered about this? Why did I get so triggered that he didn't want to go on the other date? Why am I so triggered with this? So you're reflecting, just asking questions. Okay. The A is ask the right question. So asking, how did I create this? So when you ask how you created this, this is you being 100% responsible and saying like, okay, was it that I didn't communicate what I wanted? Was it that we didn't communicate when he texted me? Was it that I made assumptions? It's like, what's my part in this? Okay. And then, so you want to ask questions, just get really curious of like, what is really going on here? So for me, the I is interpret. So what I interpreted was I'm triggered because I'm wanting him to take me out. I want to go on a date. I want to have one-on-one time with him. So once I identify and interpret what the problem is at hand, it's not that the kids are going on the date with us. It's not that I don't want the kids to go, which I had to clean that up. Like, I'm like, it's not that I don't want you guys to go with us. It's just that I wanted to go with daddy alone. And then the S is solve it. So when you solve the problem, it's really saying what you mean, not what you feel. Right. So what I felt was you never, of course you wouldn't plan a date. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I felt. I felt mad. I felt angry. I felt attacked. I felt rejected. I felt abandoned. I felt not enough. Right. I felt unseen. I felt misunderstood. Those are all ways of feeling when you're triggered. I'm so sorry, guys. This is so distracting. My nose is bleeding at this point. But that's what you feel. What I really wanted to say, and so when you solve, it's say what you mean, okay, not what you feel. So what I should have said was, dang, like I literally packed, because I wanted to be like, I packed all these snacks, like you didn't even see what I did, and I put in all this effort, instead of saying, I really wanted to have this day with you. Like, yes, I am disappointed. Oh my God, sorry guys. Okay. Yes, I am disappointed. I really did want to go on this date with you. I really was looking forward to that day. And so much so that I packed us all our favorite snacks. I was so excited. I was going to take us down memory lane with our old snacks. And when can we do it again? Solve the problem. When can we do it again? Let's put another date on the calendar. Instead of focusing on, well, you did it and you didn't. He didn't mean to do that. He meant to be a good dad. He meant to treat our girls to something before summer was over. He wasn't trying to not be a good husband. So don't focus. We spend so much time and energy focusing on the problem that we forget that we need to put our energy in the solution. So when you're communicating, you have to be solution based. You can't focus on the problem. The problem, you'll just dig yourself in a hole and you'll be at war, because 99.9% of the time, and you have to hear what I'm about to say. I touched on this yesterday when I said, give them the benefit of the doubt. Think best case scenario. 99% of the time, your man means well. He wants to do the best for you. He's trying his best. He really is. And that's if you have a good man. There's some men out here that really maybe aren't trying their best. And they really maybe what you're feeling is spot on, that they're just not trying. They're not courting you. That's a different story. But in this scenario, this is my husband. This is the man who's providing and protecting and really striving to please, because those are the three things that men really want to do. They want to protect you, provide for you, and please you. And I want to point out protect and provide. Those two things, if they're doing that, roof over your head, food in your stomach, providing for you, protecting you. My husband just got his gun license and all these things. Like, he thinks he's protecting and providing. He's got 2 out of the 3 things crossed off his list. So when I feel unpleased constantly, I'm constantly not enough, not enough. I'm just telling him, you don't do shit for me. All of the effort you're doing for me, how hard you work, this roof over my head doesn't mean anything because I'm not pleased, right? And so when you give your man the benefit of the doubt and you think best case scenario, you're more likely to focus on the solution than the problem. Because the problem is where the devil wants to keep us stuck, because he wants to be like, you did this, well, you did that, well, no, you, and it's just a war. So be solution focused and figure out what's at hand, right? And then the E in praise is first of all, experience the emotion. So again, you have to learn to release emotion. You run, exercise, dance, journal. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I use Boxer. So I Boxer myself and I'll blow up on my phone like you, and I'll talk to my phone like I'm cussing out my man. You have to express the energy. Do not trap the emotion. If you're mad, like with this person who messaged me and was like, how do you just turn your head and like it feels like you're letting them get away with it, right? So if you're still mad, like, no, he really should have done this. Like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and but he really should have done that. You've got to learn how to express yourself and experience those emotions. So be mad, be angry, be sad, be frustrated, be whatever you are, but don't be that on the person. Be that in your own space. Go to God. God, I'm pissed right now. God, I'm angry. Show me why I'm so mad. Show me how to handle this. You've got to handle it. So one of the things that I was sharing with this particular girl that I was going to share today was, it's not about looking the other way and ignoring what they're doing. It's about handling it in a way that's Christ-like. Remember, we talked about this on day 2, leaning more into your spirit than your flesh. So when I leaned into my flesh, that's when I was being petty patty. That's when I had the little side jabs. And that's when I was basically creating war. But when you lean into your spirit, that's when you go into your prayer closet. Like, I just was on a Bible study last night, and the wife said that her husband did something that pissed her off and made her so upset. And he's a pastor, and so is she. And these Christian people are pissed off at each other. And she said, I went into my prayer closet. And I'm like, I'm gonna use that as an example. Go into your spirit, not your flesh. People ask me how I pray. I pray all day. I talk to God like he's literally sitting next to me, because he's inside of us. I'm talking to him all day long. For parking spaces, for patience with my kids. Jesus, take it, fix it. Jesus, fix it. So she went into her prayer closet. Go into your prayer closet and say, why am I so mad? Why is this pissing me off? What do you want me to do? Send a man to, and I literally, I said, so you needed to be wined and dined. Yes. Okay. So that's how you solve the problem. Why am I so mad? Because we've let this go too far. We've let this get too comfortable. So now I just need to focus on the solution. And I shared this, I think maybe in a live, where what we came up with was, we're going to switch off every other week. It's my responsibility and then his. So now it's no longer about, well, I want to be courted. Well, I don't know if you guys saw my story, but I shared how my daughter was like, let's buy daddy flowers. And my first reaction was like, guys don't like flowers. We're not doing that. And then I was like, of course, like, they don't know gender roles. They don't know any of that. They just love, they wanted to do something nice for their dad. And so it's that kind of thing. Like, just because you're the woman, and yes, you should be courted by your man, doesn't mean that your man doesn't want to be courted too. Doesn't mean that you can't plan things for him too. So we decided we're going to switch off. Every other week, it's his turn to plan and then my turn to plan. So this week he kind of planned our away trip. That's why we're leaving our kids, because our daughter will be with her team and then we'll have the weekend to be alone, right? And so we just had to solve the problem. And so you experience your emotions and then you learn how to express them, which we're going to talk more about that tomorrow, the actually how to express, how to verbally say, hey, so when you did this, I was triggered and da, da, da. So tomorrow when we go deeper into communication, I'm going to talk about, when you're bringing this up to your man, how do you bring it up like a queen? How do you communicate like a queen? Because I promise you, this has been, and I know this so well. I was just teaching this to one of my one-on-one clients the other day. I'm like, I know this because I fail often at it. So when I do apply what I'm teaching you, it works like a charm. It's literally like magic. When you learn how to communicate like a queen, which is calm, collected, not popping off at the mouth, not petty Patty, not bitter Betty, but queen, you will kill them with your kindness. If that's what you want to look at it like, you will be collected and you will force them to sit in the pile of their stuff, and they will have enough time, quiet space to reflect and look at how they're responsible for this at hand. And I promise you, a good man, which likely you have one, wants to please you. So he's going to go bend over backwards and try his best to please you. But if you go on the defense and you go off the deep end and you go blowing up stuff, he's no longer going to be focused on pleasing you. He's going to be focused on what you did. And he's going to be focused on the defense of, now it's your turn to apologize. Now you need to apologize for calling me out of my name. I'm a good husband. I'm a good man. And you just basically shit on me and talk to me with no respect, talk to me like I was crazy. And now, no, I don't want to take you out on a date. I don't want to court you. I want space from you. So you have to learn to create that space so that you always come to the table like a queen. And I always tell people, I'm like, people treat you how you show up. So if you show up like a crazy mess, they're going to treat you with lower respect, like a mess. If you show up like a powerful queen, they're going to have to respect you. They're going to have to respect your boundaries. They're going to have to respect your expectations. And I remember I learned this in training. I learned this through education. But I'll never forget one of my best friends. She was so like, I was always in awe of her when she would handle her man. She'd be like, Chris, she was telling me for years, Chris, stop blowing up. Stop throwing things off the balcony. Stop cussing him out. She's like, you won't get anywhere. He'll never hear you. And I could not hear. I'm like, I can't help it. I just have all this rage. And this was before doing the work to become self-aware and self-control. One of the biggest ways to be Christ-like, one of the biggest ways to let go and let God is self-control. When you have self-control, you allow space for God to handle the mess for you. And she tried teaching me this for years and years. And I just didn't get it. And then one day I blew up by calling her because I'm like, I know you always say, don't blow up. So I want to handle this differently. Teach me, walk me through it. And this was when I paired with I told her, I was like, oh my God, what you just told me is what I've been learning in my PhD program to teach this. I'm like, and then that's when I came up with the praise method. I literally came up with it from experience and education of stop, so that you can tap into the fruits of the spirit and have self-control. And when you learn self-control, you will cause everything around you to bow down to your elegance. But when you go off, there's no place for that. You're playing at the same playing field as them. And so I am tomorrow, like I said, going to break down more of how to communicate like a queen. So you got the first step, it's take a praise break, pause, reflect, ask, interpret, solve, and express and experience. Okay, so you're going to take a praise break, and I want you guys to practice this. And I mean practice, because I've been teaching this for almost 2 years now and I still fall short. But it's a muscle. You have to strengthen the muscle, and most of us don't even know that this muscle exists. So you have to start using it so that you can strengthen it. And the more you mature your spirit, the more your self-control is going to mature with you. And that's why praying, staying in the word, journaling, having quiet time, learning about yourself is so important. So the last part of expressing that I'm going to talk about today of how it relates to communication is what I have found is people don't know how to communicate because they don't know themselves. And one of the biggest things that we go over in expression, because I teach expression in her playbook. Her playbook is all about know yourself, love yourself, and be yourself. I told you guys we master connection, communication, community, consistency, and confidence. Well, those all come in. You don't know why you're being inconsistent because you don't know what your blocks are. You don't know what your what your brain is telling you. You're being inconsistent with your goals because you have something in your subconscious that is afraid. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of looking bad. You're afraid of, oh, I don't want people to think I'm selling them. You're afraid of like, I know for a fact, some people don't post their partner because they're afraid of the people who know their real business behind the camera. They're afraid of people who know that they were just arguing yesterday and they're worried about what people think about them. They're afraid to, I mean, a lot of people don't post just out of pure privacy and everyone's prerogative, but I know for a fact, because I coach a lot of women, a lot of people don't post their partner on social for reasons because they're afraid of what people will think of them. So you're not consistent because of that. You don't have the community you want if this is you, because you're not being your authentic self. When you be yourself, you will attract the partner you desire, even the one you're with. That person will change when you change. Your friends will change when you change. This is why they say, like, people fall away from you the more you level up, because the more you evolve, the more you attract what your vibration is. So the more you rise your vibration, the more the people you surround yourself with. And so you might not be in community. I know for me, when I first started being in communities, I didn't feel like I belonged there. I remember I was just telling someone, when my husband played in the league, I was so insecure. It's not even funny. The Crystal you guys know was not the Crystal that was sitting in the stands at my husband's games. I was like this. Oh, hi to the fans. Do not put me in the wifey section. I don't know what to talk about with them. What if my clothes are not cute enough? I shop at Forever 21. I'm a broke college student. I was too prideful to ask my man to, like, he finally ended up shopping for me, but I was too embarrassed to go shop at like an expensive store because my worthiness was low. So I went on a shopping spree at Forever 21. But then when I would go to the games, I was like, I'm wearing Forever 21. They're wearing designer. I can't sit with them. And then so I'm insecure. I feel like I can't sit next to people because of the clothes that I have on, which is so freaking ridiculous. Now I rock Forever 21 because I realize now that my confidence makes the clothes. I could have been wearing swap meet clothes back then and own the room if my confidence was there. So when you know yourself, when you learn yourself, you can learn your triggers. You can learn why you're not attracting the man in the community you want. You can learn why you're not being consistent with your goals, with your life, with your daily routine, with your prayer life, with everything. I know most of us can relate to starting and not stopping, whether it's the gym, whether it's the way you eat, whether it's your business, all of it. Your communication, your connection with your man, that all is a reflection of your self-awareness, your self-control, your knowingness. The more you know yourself, the more you'll know, I can't listen to that kind of music. I had to cut off secular music because I knew myself, I'm going to be triggered. I'm not mature enough to listen to this yet. And it took me years. Now I can listen to it again because I've matured, but I knew myself enough that you want to talk, like, we're going to talk a little bit about boundaries. You can't set boundaries. You can't set non-negotiables if you don't know your moral compass. If you don't know your non-negotiables, you're wondering why you haven't attracted the man you want, or why your man isn't treating you the way you want to be treated. It's because you don't know how you want to be treated. You don't know who you are. And when I think of that Crystal back then, that was me. I didn't even know what I wanted to eat, let alone I had no worthiness to think I could say. So my husband would be like, where do you want to go eat? I don't know. What do you feel like eating? Whatever you want. Because I didn't feel like I was worthy to have a voice, even to say what we would eat, let alone anything else. So now I still don't know what I want to eat, but it has nothing to do with worthiness. It's just indecisiveness, right? And so you've got to, the last part of that expression is knowing yourself. You can't communicate, connect, have intimacy. The level of love you have for yourself is the level of which you can be loved by somebody else. So I want you to hear this. This is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I've loved, that I learned when I was doing my leadership training. It was one of the trainer's husbands. He like stepped in and taught us for a little bit. And I'll never forget, he was raving about his wife because his wife was the trainer. And he was just like, she's so amazing. And he was just so googly eyed talking about his wife. She's so powerful. She's this amazing queen. And he said, you know what I love the most about my wife? And he said, and I'm gonna be honest, it took me a while to accept this because my ego, my manhood was like, dang, this, what I'm about to say, my wife doesn't need me. He said, but then I realized that what I love the most about her is my wife doesn't need me. And here's what I want you to hear. There's an art to making your man feel like he's needed because men want to be needed. So I'm not saying be Miss Independent Woman, I don't need you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't need a man because you want that man. You want to be in intimate with him. You want to have connection with him. You want to create experiences with him, start a family with him. You want him to, I know for me, one of my values in a man is, yes, you're paying my bills. I'm not going half with you. I'm not, you're going to take care of me. That's just my belief system. That doesn't have to be yours. But my point of saying that is like, I do need my husband. I made the mistake of saying it when I was mad, like, I don't need you. And then I like quickly took that back because I'm like, no. I don't want to be responsible for paying for the house that I live in. I don't want to be responsible for 5 children financially. I don't want that stress. So yes, I'm not saying don't act like you need your man, right? What I'm saying is don't need your man to make you happy. There's a big difference, okay? When your man feels like you need him to make you happy, it looks like how my husband used to look. I was little bored Crystal sitting at home, channel surfing between Kardashians, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and whatever the other reality show at the time was, waiting for my husband to get home from practice to start my day. Like my only goal was to shower and be cute before he got home from work. Then we had a baby, so then I was dealing with her. But then the resentment just got bigger because I'm like, I'm just here all day. You don't know what it's like to be a mom and just be sitting home. And I wasn't cut out for this. And I hate my life, basically. So I was putting my happiness on him. If he didn't come home and yes, okay, tell her I'll be right there. So I needed him to make me happy. I needed him to have a purpose. I needed him to fulfill me. When I started finding out who I was, it was the best thing that I ever did. When I started diving into self-development and self-reflection and learning who Crystal is and what Crystal likes and what Crystal doesn't like and what my triggers are, that was true expression. That was when I learned how to express myself, how to, what brings me pleasure. So you guys have maybe participated in my play retreat that I do, passion, pleasure, and play. I believe play is your compass. I didn't have play back then. I didn't know what my compass was. So I share all this to say that one of the biggest barriers in communication is we hold so much responsibility on our man to make us happy because we are not. And then we're pointing fingers. When I hear my clients talk to me, when I hear people talk to me, and sometimes when I hear myself talk to my counsel, I realize how much we project on our partner because we are not self-aware, because we don't see our own stuff. And I love this work. This is why her playbook is my favorite thing. It's my baby, because I love when the light bulbs go off in women. I love how the light bulbs have gone off in me. I geek out when me and my husband argue. I geek out at telling my story to my counsel and then looking at it like, oh, dang, that's how I created that. Oh my gosh, I was projecting that. Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. Dang, you're right. I do sound ungrateful. Oh my gosh, you're right. I love geeking out about being responsible for my own shit. And so I promise you guys that today and tomorrow, I was going to tell you guys about how you can do that work, how you can learn to express yourself so that you can have that core foundation of communication and connection and community and consistency. And so what her playbook is it's basically my program that I reverse engineered how I do my life. So people ask me how do you have connection? How do you have confidence? How do you run a business? How do you do all the things that you do? And when I did the work, I went and did the programming to learn how to facilitate it. And I married that with my life experiences, plus all of the programs that I've done to date. And I created her playbook. And I made it a play on words with like, you know, especially if your man plays in the league or did play, or if you had a sport. I shared this on one of the other days. You have to have a coach. You have to have a playbook, right? Like the athlete has the talent, but you have to know what plays to plug in. You have to know what tools to use. You have to know, okay, I need rehab. I need to feed my body a certain way. I need to exercise a certain way. I need to rest. I need to study my film. And so I wanted to create the playbook for the woman to have the play-by-play of how to live your best life, how to be the best version of yourself. Because when you clear out the clutter, you are going to manifest. And I use manifest lightly because I'm not talking about energetically. I'm talking about, I believe manifestation is stepping into what God already gave you. God gave us everything. Abundance is all around us. It's just, how are you seeing it? Are you too guarded to see the abundance that's around you? So, I created it with a 5-step framework, and I go through vision, identity. So I told you guys we did vision and identity on day 1 and 2 of this challenge. I teach it in a different way. So we go into personal identity. Who are you? What are your triggers? What floats your boat? You know, all those things. What is your vision? What do you want? What are you going after in your life? How do you make yourself happy? And then we go through healing, which is essential. If you don't heal, you might as well forget about everything, because healing is where you dig up all the shit scoops, where you get rid of all the stuff that's holding you back, that's causing you to be resentful, that's causing you to be unforgiving, that's causing you to have low self-control. So we go through healing. You'll learn different modalities, different exercises, different ways. And then there's growth and contribution, which is every human needs 3 things. We need survival, growth, contribution. Most humans stay in survival mode. Even if you're in the league and your survival is plush. Survival is roof over my head, family unit, food in my stomach, clothes on my back, day-to-day to-do list. That's survival mode. So what her playbook does is it breaks you out of survival mode and it gets you into passion mode. It gets you into thriving mode. It gets you into, why am I here? Why did God create me? Because God did not create me to just be a mundane human who goes through the motions. No, I don't believe that. So not everyone will subscribe to what I believe, but I believe you were called here with a divine calling. 1 Peter 4:10, each of you have a unique gift that you should be giving. And that unique gift could literally be you. Like my man was in the league. I was at home all day, but you're on the phone with your friends and your family, and you're being a voice of light and hope and love. I'm not saying you have to have a business. It doesn't mean you have to have a business. You have to have a hustle. It just means you have to know your soul. You have to be in tune with your spirit, because when you're in tune with your spirit, that's what sets you apart from being just another human with the flesh, another body, right? And so that's like the framework. And then how it works is every week we meet. It's a 3-month program. So we begin on September 21st. We meet every Tuesday, and we meet for an hour and a half. It's a 90-minute call on Zoom. So instead of me talking at you like we are here on live or on Facebook, you're in Zoom. So you're coming off mute, you're engaging. What's cool and exciting about season 4, which is the one that's beginning in September, is that I'm revamping it. So when I created her playbook 3 seasons ago, it's been evergreen, meaning the modules, because there's modules. So each week you'll go live with me and get coaching. So it's like I'm teaching in the modules like I do on these lives, but then the call is 90 minutes of coaching and exercises. It's not me talking. I don't talk for 90 minutes. So what's cool about that is I'm redoing all the modules. So if you've done her playbook in the past, it's going to be completely different because I'm revamping it with tweaking things. Every season it gets better and better because I see women go through it and I see where they fall off. I see where they stop listening to the modules. I see where my biggest breakthrough from last season to this one was, okay, the exercises, like I'm telling you guys, the exercises, the daily challenge is where you actually get the fruits of the program. People are not doing them. They're coming to the live calls, but that's it. And they're getting fed just from 90 minutes a week. Imagine if they were doing all of the workbook exercises. So now what I'm going to be doing is implementing the workbook exercises into the weekly calls so that when you come to the calls, you're being held accountable. So it's like you're not going to walk away without doing this. And I got that from when I did the work, when I got trained and to facilitate this, that's what they did. You weren't even walking in the room the next day if you didn't do the exercise you were supposed to do. So it was like forced accountability, and that's what you can expect. So it's if you're one of those people, I will tell you, I teach pretty much everything somehow, some way, whether it's through lives, my podcast, my trainings like this. I give everything for free pretty much. What you're paying to play is to be held accountable. You're paying to have my coaching, to instead of take it hypothetically with my examples, you're saying this happened yesterday, Crystal, help me. I didn't know how to take a praise break, or I didn't take the praise break. How do I clean it up? Or I keep working on this business thing and I don't know what's stopping me, right? And so it's the accountability. So there's modules, there's a workbook, there's a weekly calls, and then there's community. That to me is my favorite part. I love doing this work in community. You will find that there's women who are Me Too crew. I believe you should always be surrounded with people who are pulling you up, people who you're pulling up and inspiring, and then the Me Too crew, the people who are right where you're at and doing where you're being exactly how you are. And so when you're in this container, you're in a safe container to be around people who are inspiring you, people who you're inspiring, and then people who are right where you're at. And so there's something powerful every single time. I definitely get the people who are like, well, I don't want anyone in my business, or I don't want to, do a group setting. You can always do one-on-one. That is an option, but I promise you, there's power in community. I've always, since about 8 years ago, invested to be a part of a community. I will never do life alone again. And so it's a beautiful place for you to be surrounded with powerful women. And so if you're interested, I have Sarita, my virtual assistant, is on with us today. She's going to kind of keep track. I want you to put details, please, in the chat so that we can make sure we send you how you can get invited into her playbook and look at the next round. Even if you're just curious and you don't know if it's for you or not, just say details, please. That way we can send you information and see if you're a good fit for it. I love to get on the phone with you if that feels good for you, and to hear more about why you're interested in details. And then we can really talk about if I think that this will support you. So details, please, if you want to consider joining, and then we will make sure we send you the information. So as we close, yay, details, please. And I see that I did want to address this. I see Lisa's in here. And I was going to say, if you're on here and you've done her playbook, please drop your testimony in the chat. I would love, and it doesn't have to be a testimony, just drop a word of why you would recommend women doing the program as well. I would love for you guys to do that. I know Lisa did that on her own, and it reminded me that I wanted to ask you guys to do that. But Lisa says her playbook completely changed my life because of the change in my perspective. Yes. That's it. When you change your perspective, you change your life. And so we are a zombie to this world if we aren't the light to it. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Okay, I love all the details, please. I love my partner from her playbook, and we hold each other accountable. Yes. I'm telling you, the community is incredible. And it's incredible how God works, because I pray over every cycle. So I used to stress over oh my gosh, is anyone going to buy this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this to make money. I mean, obviously this is what I do for a living, but this isn't about like making sales. I literally just say, God, you put this on my heart, you bring the people. So I pray over you guys every single day. And so what's really incredible is I have my board and I have my set number of people that I want to allow to come in, because when there's too many, it gets too much. Season 2, we had like 35 people and it was way too many people. So I have my set number of people, and then I just pray over every day, like, God, you know the women who need to be there. You know the women who need this in their life. Send them, let them see it. And so I say that to say that when you're in it, it's like perfectly ordained that you're in the group with the people that you're meant to be in there with. Sarita says, HP opened my eyes and transformed my way of thinking, therefore transforming my relationship. But every time I listen, I learn more and more. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's people who have done her playbook for all 4 seasons. There's people who do every single season, because you can never keep learning about your mind. Every time you think you know something, your mind's at a new layer and a new level. So then you hear that the next time some way different. I was just talking to one of my one-on-one clients the other day on our one-on-one call, and she was like, that sermon you sent me, oh my God. She was like, this stood out to me. And what she said stood out to her, I didn't even hear. The reason why I sent her the sermon wasn't even what she heard. And I'm like, look at God, because God, when I was talking to her, I'm like, hold on. You need to hear this sermon that I just listened to. And I sent her the sermon. And then she came to our next call. She said, Crystal, if the only reason why God sent me to work with you was for that sermon to be sent to me, it was worth every penny of working with you. And I'm just like, wow. So that's what I mean by God ordains what you need to hear. He speaks through me. So what Sarita might have got from her playbook is completely different from what Alicia got and what Lisa got. So Alicia says, agreed with Sarita. It's such a transformation. So I love that we have so many of our former her playbookers in here. I love that so many of you guys are saying details, please. I can't wait to share them with you. And so I'm going to wrap today up with our challenge. So today's challenge is and this is a game changer, okay? And so I know we're a little over time today, but I really, not a little, but we're over time, but I want you to hear this. When I was taught this, when I was asked this question that you're going to be asked in today's challenge, it changed everything for me. It was during my leadership training that I was doing. And I tweaked it a little bit the way I teach it, but the way it was done for us wasn't meant to be what it was, but it changed everything. My trainer asked me, he said, what is your kid's experience of being your kid? And I broke down, you guys, because I was like, oh my God. And it made me sit and think, what is my kid's experience of me being their mom and them being my kid? And I cried and cried. And I'm like, it's shitty. Like, yeah, I'm a good mom. I take care of them. I put food, clothes on their back. I feed them. I have birthday parties for them. I make sure Christmas is Christmas. I make sure Halloween is Halloween. I make sure they have back to school clothes. And like, I do all the things. But the experience, the vibe of being their mom is frustrated. It's overwhelmed. It's tired. No wonder. We talked the other day about childhood trauma, and I said, you guys all have it. Let me give you an example of their experience of it when I saw clear as day childhood trauma. Mom's busy, mom's tired, mom's overwhelmed, mom's overworked, and one of the babies says, mom can't hear it. So by the 10th mom, what? That's their experience of being my child. They just want to ask me a question. They just need water. They just need me to help them fix something. And I'm yelling at them, what? Like they're a burden. And then you wonder why, as an adult, you think you're a burden. You wonder why, as an adult, you don't want to ask for help. You wonder why, as an adult, you're a lone wolf. You think you have to do everything by yourself. You don't want to ask for a babysitter because you don't want to burden people. A few months ago, I had a emotional breakdown. And I literally saw this again. I needed my mom, and I called my mom, and I'm crying on the phone, and I'm like, Mom, please come. And there was so much traffic. We were driving in the traffic, and then I knew what she was going to be driving in. And I literally said, Mom, you don't even have to come. I'm so sorry. Like, there's so much traffic. She's like, what? And in that moment, I realized I feel like a burden. Not because your kids are a burden just because this is life. My point of that is to say that, what was my point of saying that? Oh, your experience, the challenge. So when I looked at my kids' experience, it's constantly yelling at them, clean up, leave your sister alone. Why are you guys always fighting? What's wrong with you? Why are you whining? Stop doing that. Pick that up, take that out, fix that, clean that up. Why that? What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Stop calling me. My name's not mom. Stop calling me. That's my kids' experience. People think I'm such a good mom. I'm so patient. I'm like, you don't live in my house. You see me on Instagram for 15 seconds. You don't see me at the end of the day when I'm like, talk about your husband's experience of you when he gets home from work. Most of us can relate to that. If we stay home, you're tapped out. Part of why I had to get a babysitter, because I was tired of being tapped out. This week has reminded me what my life was like before I invested in a sitter, because I don't want that. I would rather my kids' experience of me to be that mommy asked for help and mommy had a babysitter 4 days a week than mommy was always stressed out and overwhelmed and cussing them out. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad. If you're in a position where you can't get a babysitter or you don't have one, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. What I will tell you though, is the best remedy to being that mom is just talk to your kids, apologize to them. Mommy's frustrated. Mommy yelled because I'm tired. Mommy snapped like that. It's not because I don't want you to ask me for help. So now that I'm aware, this is what, when people say her playbook transforms their life, it goes like this. And that song comes in my head. It goes a little something like this. Now that you're aware that that's their experience of being their mom, now when they ask me for help, I can override. So this is, people don't change. I'm still a frustrated, overwhelmed mom, but my awareness is up now. So now when they ask for help, I can say, I'm not perfect. I still fall short, but now it's like, yes, let me help you. Yes, I'll help you right now. Or I was always putting them on hold. Mommy's doing something. Hold on, I have to chop these onions. Now it's like, no, you're teaching them that they have to always come second, that they're a burden, that this comes before them. Stop the onions. Yes, hold on, let me help you. And I just am aware to get out of autopilot, because autopilot seems okay. It seems logical that I'm just chopping onions. It seems logical that I'm just frustrated because I'm tired and I'm overworked and I'm working. Oh, I'm working so you could ride that bike. I'm working so you could have Christmas. And then we blame our kids and we blame them, and then they feel responsible. Not all you guys can relate, but I know someone needed this word. So the homework, going back to that, is you're going to do that for your man. What is your man's experience of being your man? What woman is he getting? What energy is he getting? Are you proud of the woman that he's experiencing? Would you want to be you? If your energy was his energy, would you be okay with it? So that's your homework. And if you can't think of it on your own, you can ask your man. Your homework is to write it down yourself and to ask your man. So one way you can ask your man is what I meant to say, is you could say, what are 3 ways that you would like to see me improve in how I'm in relationship with you? What's your experience of me? How would you describe me? And ask him to be honest, because this is another test of how vulnerable your man feels, how safe he feels to be with you. Can your man even be honest? Most of my men, my husband, you're perfect, babe. I love you. And I'm like, bullshit. But he's not even trying to go there. He doesn't even want that smoke. So hopefully your man is safe enough to be honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if many of your men is not. So just if he's not going to be honest, try asking, what are 3 ways you would love to see me improve? Second part of the homework is the physical part, and that is plan and experience. So go be the initiator, go figure out who's going to plan date nights when, and go get your date nights back in order. You don't have to leave the house to do a date night. If you got the workbook, you can download the workbook, and I gave you 50 date night ideas. I just jotted them off the top of my head, things that I would want to do, things that I've heard of people doing, and just came up with 50 things, 50 ideas. Go look at it. You can check them out. So if you're not registered, but you tuned in today, the link is in my bio. It's absolutely free. Hi, Jen. another former her playbooker. So the link is in my bio. When you register, you'll get the workbook. Tomorrow, the whole workbook will be emailed to you. So today, each day, it's just been the daily challenge. On Friday, tomorrow, the whole workbook will be emailed. And then, but today's will have the challenge, and it'll have the 50 date night ideas. So your role today, your challenge is to go plan a date night for you and your man. It can be something in the house. It can be something I remember at the top of COVID, when I was coaching this team, one of the things we stretched them to do was to do a date with their partner, and they all did Zoom dates. So have a Zoom date with your man. Like if your man's at camp or he's still away, literally send him a Zoom code and plan a date night with him where you guys just eat dinner together on Zoom or something. I don't know. But I actually want to try that at home with my husband, just because like I think it would be kind of funny to like have a date on Zoom because we're always together. So I thought it would be like a way to switch it up. But anyways, that's your challenges. If you came in late today, watch back the beginning. If you're not aware that this is a part of a challenge, go back and watch day 1, 2, and 3. Today was day 4. Tomorrow we'll be back for day 5 at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And again, like I prayed in the beginning, please, 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 there's 22 people on right now. Please, I want to see 22 shares and tags. Go check out this challenge. Please share this because I believe that this word can bless somebody. Remember to tag me at me so that I see it, so I can enter you in the raffle tomorrow. I won't announce it tomorrow, but after tomorrow, we'll pick a winner who will get I Am Enough merch, affirmation cards. And then if you're someone who is wanting to do her playbook potentially, or if you've already done her playbook and you're looking at Cloud 9, I'm also putting a $500 voucher in there. You're already getting $500 off for participating in the challenge. So you're getting $500 off for being a part of the challenge. That's going to be emailed to you, a code that you can use for 72 hours to get $500 off of her playbook, because I haven't opened it up to the public yet. It's kind of public because I'm on Instagram, but we're in our little circuit. So you're going to already get 500 off, and then you'll get another 500. So someone's going to get her playbook for like almost nothing if they win the challenge. So it doesn't hurt to join in the raffle, especially if you're someone who wants to do her playbook. Go get that $500 off on top of the 500 you're getting. You don't want to miss that. But again, do it from the kindness of your heart, not to win, but to give, because someone needs to hear this. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me with my technical difficulties and my itchy nose. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Bye.